I've been on a medical medium journey since 2022. Maybe even 2021. It might have been the end of 2021 when I actually found the book, but I don't think I really cracked it open and read it for what it really was until the beginning of 2022. Um, as I've said several times before, I was already looking for answers to health. I was struggling a lot with ADHD. It was getting in the way of things. And despite everybody being like, you always been like that, you always did that, that's not how I felt. That's not how my experience was feeling. A lot of these things were new to me, and I didn't like them. And it was really that simple. And I didn't like what the doctors were saying. Stay on medication for the rest of your life. So I was like, there's got to be something. Like, I know these are for-profit industries, and that's all they really care. My mom works in healthcare, specifically in insurance. So it was like, yeah, you're not going to get me with that one. I know there's something out there, and I just got to find it. So I had a list of books that I wanted to go get at the library. So my dog died, and I wanted to distract myself. I went to the library and was looking for that list of books. And, there was other books on the shelf. So there was one that said medical medium. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And it was like, there was a couple of them. So that's why I was like, let me just take it out. And on the back, I saw that it said, answers to ADHD, essentially. That's what I saw. That's not what it read exactly, but that's what I saw. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. I went to the index, opened up the book to the ADHD page, and it gave me a clear and concise reasoning to what ADHD is, why it's happening, how to get rid of it. Like, all in those 2 pages. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are doctors acting like they don't know what's going on? And I've had such bad experience with doctors, I just assumed my doctor was stupid. And I was like, okay, whatever. And honestly, no, let me stop. I was like, okay, closed the book up, went home, was like, let me start the book from the beginning. Spirit of compassion jumped out at me, and I was like, oh, what the fuck is this, bro? I just escaped religion, so that was the last thing I wanted to see. But I was so desperate, I just kept reading on. And now I'm here, 4 years later, still applying medical medium information. Man, ADHD is like, it's crazy to even think about, like, that's how this started. Because that's after, like, a couple months of implementing the ADHD protocol, and not even everything on it. Like, on each protocol, he has, like, a list of, like, 10 to 12 things you can do in order of importance. And really, I think I only did, like, 4 things. Celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, cat's claw, and there might have been something else in there. I don't remember at this point. It's been so long. And in the first month, I felt a difference. After a few months, so let's just say 3 to 6 months, to me, the part of ADHD that was the reason for my search, what kicked off my journey, those symptoms were gone. And I was like, oh, dope. Cool. I really didn't think past that when I got the book. I didn't know I was going to find all the information that was in there also. So I thought this journey was really just going to be about, healing ADHD, but it was so much more. After, implementing a couple of things. Oh, you know what? I remember the last thing. It was a liver rescue smoothie. That was like the 4th thing. So I was doing a heavy metal liver rescue, like one or the other every other day. Celery juice as often as I could. We didn't have the greatest juicer. So that was just like every other day or so. But it eventually got to a point where we were like, let's have this shit every day, because we saw such a difference in how we felt, like, just energy wise. Like, I wasn't as aware of my body's communications to me, its language system, as I am now. So all I could think about back in that day is I felt like I had more energy. I can't explain anything else to you because honestly, I was just so used to not listening to the body that that's the only thing I heard. I just know like I slept better. I could get more things done. Like like I had almost felt less distracted. Like I don't know, it's like somebody just charged my battery, gave me like a boost, and so I was like, oh hell yeah, this is staying in. We're gonna do this as often as we can because celery is expensive. So that was pretty much the journey for the first year. Obviously, well, maybe this isn't obvious. Maybe some people just go back. We kind of naturally just went to a whole food plant-based diet after this, and we cut back some things. So we didn't get rid of anything completely. We were still eating meat and eggs and all that stuff, gluten that he says, corn, beef meat and everything, viruses and pathogens and left and right, because to be honest, I didn't believe him. I didn't believe the information. I do now because I've had so many experiences. And like I said, my awareness of how my body feels and what it's telling me, like, it's just, it went from 0 to like, I'll say a 6, because I'm just going to leave some room for growth because I believe there's more. But yeah, we went whole food plant-based, and we did that for like, honestly, about 3 years, but the whole food plant-based kind of changed as time went on. So like we left meat in there and we left dairy and stuff like that. Like we didn't get rid of anything, but after the first year, meat started to slip away. You know, like going into the second year, like I think we had a couple instances where it was just like I know for me, I had a burger. I had 4 burgers. That was the last time I ever had any meat, and it was like 4 burgers in 1 month because I knew I wasn't going to be messing around with that anymore. It just, I didn't feel good when I ate it. And spiritually, what I'm trying to accomplish, it just wasn't going to align. So it was like, this got to go. So meat went, and then we learned, then, we were like, okay. We were having a lot of spelt when we were doing the whole food plant-based, so then gluten went along with meat. So it was just like we started to get rid of, like, let's say tier 1 of the shits that you shouldn't eat between years 1 and 2. And then years 3 and this year that I'm on 4, year 3 was more about cleansing and detoxing. So I know he doesn't say do this, but I don't believe everything medical medium says. There's still some shit we don't agree on, right? But there's a lot of shit in there that's truth. Like he don't care for he don't care for fasting. Where I'm trying to go, fasting is key, right? So we did like 28-day juice fast, 55-day juice fast, 90-day juice fast. I'm fasting. I was doing some dry fasting in there. I gave water fasting a try. I don't really do that like that. So like all these things. So it was really focused at cleansing my body and rebuilding it these years 2 through 4. And in that, we still stayed whole food plant-based, but this was more like, if you cannot buy it in its whole form and then bring it home and make something out of yourself, we didn't get it. Yeah, let's just keep it like that. But what was getting us was the restaurants. We would still go out to eat and get whole food plant-based meals, right? And say like no gluten and no this, no that, or we would just make sure that the ingredients didn't have that. But we ultimately didn't know what was in the food, right? So, and there's a lot of oil, there's a lot of chemicals and stuff because of the seasonings and what people are using. And there was really just no guarantee that what they said wasn't in there. Because again, we're not in the back, we're not in the kitchen whipping it up. So year 3 was really about letting go of restaurant life, restaurant culture. And man, that was hard. We were being pulled into the restaurants. We would go like no restaurants for like a few months, and then we'd be hard at the restaurants like 3-4 times a week, man, which was a lot for us because like we was doing nothing and then going back and then feeling like shit and then going back because we was feeling like shit. And so it was just like this cycle. And then last year when we got back from Costa Rica, we were like, we're cutting out restaurants. We're done. And it was like, we're basically on year 4 at this point. We've been feeling Gucci, you know? The whole food plant-based thing started to get a little too complex. We were looking for more simplicity. So then we mostly went high raw, right? We steam a lot of vegetables, but we're mostly eating fruit. And we would have some rice and oats every now and then. And I think that was like it. And then eventually Sequoia, she was like anti-fat for a little bit. So she wasn't even having any fat. While I was on the juice fast, I was not having any fat. that was cool for a little bit. But then we had a little moment where we went back to the restaurants twice. But then we felt so bad. We were like, okay, we realized why some of our symptoms were there. Just some things that we kind of like suspected were confirmed. And so we were like, yeah, like this life is done. We're moving on. No more going back. And so that leaves us here today where we're mostly doing, what the hell are we doing? I feel like it changes so quick. Mono meals. And if not mono meals, like just very, very simple meals. Like we do a salad and like with maybe like 3 main ingredients and then like some spices like peppers and garlic, right? And it's usually just steamed vegetables. Like that's the salad with some lettuce. So, and lemon juice as the dressing. So it's very simple. Or just like a banana smoothie or just bananas or just apples and dates. Like, or just potatoes and lemon juice. Like it's real simple. Like that's where we're at right now. Simplicity. And even that right now is starting to feel like it's way too much, like too many choices still. Like I still feel like that choice anxiety over how many options we have, even though I know most people would be like, that's nothing. That's all you're eating. Oh my God, I would motherfucking die. Like I feel like that's how people act when I say that. Okay, I realized I just like rambled for a little bit about how we got from there to here. And I think what most people want to hear is like, what the hell did I heal? And I healed a lot of stuff. Honestly, it's just like too much to remember. Like eczema, insomnia. What's that shit where you like can't breathe at night and you're like, is that insomnia? I don't know. That one. ADHD. Goodness, what else? I used to have this like nerve pain all the way up to my left knee to my foot. That's gone. Like I had some lymph nodes that would swell and hurt and be painful, like all the time underneath my armpits, near like, I don't know what you would call this, like the crotch line. I don't know, like the little V, like in the crevices. Like there was some there, so like I wouldn't like to run in the summer and stuff because like the friction would like fuck that up. But that's gone. The only time that these actually bother me anymore, which tells me there's still gunk in there to get out, is if I eat something stupid, really. Like if I go to a restaurant, like these things will flare up. Or as I've noticed today, if I have a really big negative emotion, like anger. I felt this armpit like go crazy. So just be aware of that. This eating like this, man, you never could have told me this was like going to send me on a little spiritual journey. Because again, religion had me anti anything. I was like, nope. But this journey has led me full circle back to God, back to self. I am still remembering who I am. Every day I learn something new. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. A way different mindset than what I had, back in 22. Like the physical and mental benefits have been so astronomical. Like people ask why, we eat this way. Why? I'm gonna just let the popo. Damn, they really came down this street, bro. It's just crazy. So the mental and physical benefits have been like insane, like absolutely insane. This body that I'm in feels the best it's ever felt. Like for all my life that I can remember. I understand like I had the little age things, but for as long as I can remember and like really being aware of pain, this body in this state right now today at my big age of 30 feels the best I've ever felt. I feel like I am aging backwards. I feel the youngest I've ever felt physically and mentally. My mental capacity is insane. What I'm able to accomplish today versus back in 22 is like 4 times the amount of mental energy, to just give you an example. The physical, not so much. I was actually able to do more physically back then, but that's because I was doing sports every day. So I was working out 6 days a week. I was just practicing more. I was doing it more. So I had like the endurance for it. I could go back to that, but I don't have any interest in working out 6 days a week. That's just like what sports were. So I do go to the gym now, like 3 to 4 times a week. So I do have some type of exercise routine, and that feels great. I'm able to do it. The only time I am not is like when I eat like shit, really. Like that's the only time when I just feel like I can't do what I want with this body, is when I eat like shit. For me. The most challenging thing about this journey, honestly, is like most people around me aren't on it. So there's like, I would say, thinking of the entirety of the journey, there's like, people eating your old favorite foods in front of you. People going to your old favorite restaurants in front of you. And for a lot of the journey, that was very triggering. That was very like, oh, FOMO. And, it would have me running back to, my old life, eating the way I used to eat, and then didn't feel quite good. So I would say that's the biggest challenge. And then like, family being like, oh my God, you're getting skinny. Like, oh my God, are you dying? Are you starving yourself? Like, are you getting enough protein, fiber? Like, even though nobody gave a fuck before, but now they see me eating fruits and vegetables and they care, but nobody cared when I was eating a whole box of Gushers, after lighting one up. So nobody gave a fuck about that. It's not funny. Oh man. But I would say that's one of like the biggest external challenges, but the real challenge is your mind. Like the internal challenge is your mind and the programs and beliefs that you have around eating and food and restaurants, anything food. Like, you don't even realize how much is there, how much is like baked in to your code until you're like, you want to delete it and you see it's like in 7 different areas. And then I guess if you work with computers and programming, you'll understand that. But if not, I'm sorry, whatever. Yeah, like that shit is, it's insane. But that's what's fun about the journey, because you're creating your own like new reality. You're becoming a creator instead of just, blindly following, like being a robot. And so I feel like that was part of what made life so fun. Like that shift that came when I found the medical medium books. This ain't even really about medical medium anymore, but this is what medical medium led to for me. So I'm not done healing yet, but the journey continues. And instead of focusing so much on food, although I kind of am still, because, like the breatharian journey, but at first I was doing very much like physical, like try to control physical actions and discipline. But now more so I have switched to working on my thoughts, my beliefs. And so that's where the journey continues. And, I reflect back to medical medium information when I need it. And I'm so very appreciative of it. I'm so grateful for it, because like I said, I don't know where I would be. I just really don't. If you have picked up this book and you're like, what the fuck? I suggest you give it a good, honest read. Try to be as open as possible. I think it's going to be a little hard to like just read it for what it is from the beginning because, like I said, there's so many beliefs and like programs in here that even if you do read it, you don't get the truth out of it because you're not really open to it. Even though you're reading the words, you're open to reading the words, but you're not open to really hearing them. And I'm saying this from experience, especially that part about psychedelics for me. Like there was like I just could not believe it. I just could not until my experience like literally proved the information to be true. I was like, oh shit. Welp. Now am I going to ignore me? It's one thing to like ignore Anthony Williams or Spirit of Compassion, but like myself, like damn girl, that's like straight denial. But yeah, if you're starting your healing journey, be patient, get excited, be open, be willing to observe and question the things you think you know, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. Much love and happy healing.